Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Iyori Folari. Okay, it's the day before Independence Day celebrations, Independence anniversary. Even though I was reading that there's not going to be a parade anymore, a march past parade, but every other aspect of the celebration will indeed continue as planned. But that's not the subject matter today. Tinubu's bold reforms already yielding results according to the federal government. And there are many aspects in which, one can say that perhaps that is indeed the case. Our guest is, is it chief?
No,
is it honorable?
It's sir.
Is it?
It's sir.
It's sir.
Yes.
It's the Catholic sir.
No, it's the Anglican sir.
The Anglican sir. Sir Ken Okolibo.
Thank you for
Political
having me.
Affairs analyst.
Thank you.
It's always our pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Things have been difficult in this country. That is what, if you were to ask anybody,
Yeah.
that's what they would say. But not unbearable. But to now go from there to yielding results, yeah, that can also be said.
But there's no doubt about it. At the initial onset of the Tinubu's administration, you agree with me that it looked like we were on a roller coaster. The Naira was on a free fall. We got to almost a situation where the Naira was about 1,900 to a dollar. A bag of rice was about 100,000 Naira. And, it was unthinkable how people who were earning 30,000 Naira were going to surmount the situation we actually found ourselves. Even the president himself agreed that at that point in time he was considering whether he should run or stay at that point, because he had reached a crossroad and didn't understand that that was exactly the situation he was going to find himself. And if the president was that honest to say that was the situation he thought of, what would you say about the common man that was on the street? The situation was really bad. And it's not yet to huru, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. So coming from that very, would I say, very difficult situation, and very, in fact, things were so difficult that you could find people were skipping meals. Do you understand? The misery index had gotten so bad because one subsidy was removed at the same time as the Naira was left to the variances of the market forces. And so for the first time, there was no exchange rate. And so Naira devalued, and at the same time, subsidy removed. So fuel was going as high as 1,000 Naira to a litre. But you see, I am still amazed. I know I will say it's not yet to hold. I'm still amazed at the situation we have now come to, where we are now finding that the dollar is less than 1,500 at the parallel market, not even at the official market. And when they predicated the budget at 1,500, I was of the opinion that, well, give or take 1,006, 1,007. Mm-hmm. But you see, since the budget has been on 1,005, it has fluctuated between 1,510, 1,510, 1,520. But now there's a bold drop to 1,490, 1,485. And the way I see it going, it might go as low as 1,200 and 1,300. That would mean, for the first time, the budget is performing above the benchmark. And even the Brent crude that was seemingly not selling, which is the same thing as our Bonnie Light at the exchange rate of $75, has gone higher because the war is being checkmated between Russia and Ukraine. Mm-hmm. And with the America factor, which is making it impossible for them to buy the Russian crude, it's telling on the world economy. And so it's helping us in the terms of what we can sell in terms of our per barrel. And our production has gone to about 1.7 million barrels, not the over 2 million barrels that we projected. So what I'm saying is that for the first time in reality, we have seen disinflation.
Okay, yeah.
Disinflation, because it has always been inflation. Yes, the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics did the rebasing to 2019. But even with the rebasing to 2019, we still saw inflation going as high as almost 28%, 27%. But now it's at 20.12%. Let's just say 20%. It's still 2 digits. everybody wants a single-digit inflation. But looking at where we're coming from, there's a marked improvement that you can buy a bag of rice for about 50,000, 45,000 now. It's never happened in Nigeria, because in Nigeria, when things go up, it continues going up, 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 up. And so I think there is not, it's not gloomy anymore. There's not only light at the end of the tunnel, but there is a steady focus on the gains we are making. And if you look at the monetary policy ratio, CBN has always increased it. They increased it because they want to stem inflation. So the last monetary policy ratio meeting they had, CBN took it to 27.5, from 27.5% to 27%, which is the first time we're having a drop in Tinubu's government in an MPRO meeting. So these indices are there, but the common man will be like, what is Ken talking about? We want to see this money in our pockets. So because the money is in our pocket, we can reflate the economy, so to say. And that is exactly why I say that with patience, we have been able to find ourselves at this point, at this material point in time.
And well, I suppose, since we're talking about his bold reforms, even coming out of that, which is going to be central to everything anyway.
Okay.
But look at, when last did we hear, until just very recently as a day or two ago, were we apprehensive about the state of fuel in this country?
Well, it's been a long time we saw fuel queues.
Very long time.
It came from 1,000 to 900 to 865 to 800. And I dare say that by December, it might come to 600 naira.
And that is, well...
With what we are seeing.
With what we are seeing.
Yes, with what we are seeing. Because you see, we have a growth now of 4.23%. If the 4.23% is in this last quarter, do you understand? We're heading to the last quarter. As at this time in 2024, we had 3.28%. So if you compare what we had in 2024 and we compare what we have now, and you see what is happening, there is no demand for dollar. I was calling to change dollar the other day, and I changed as a figure, and I was like, oh, I should have known I would have changed. You know, I regretted not changing all I had. Do you understand? And the next time I called, I saw this sharp drop, and the guy I usually use told me that, look, it's a guy, even in flow, that they've never seen this since they have been since they have been in the foreign exchange. And we must also give kudos to Ola Olukoyode, to the chairman of EFCC. He did a whole lot in terms of fighting those who were doing round tripping and those who were bringing the artificial devaluation of the naira, especially those who were using all these cryptocurrency and all that in actually making it impossible for us to find the real value. The fight too on those people also helped to stem what we are enjoying today in terms of the stability. Well, nobody wants the naira to be at 1,500. We wish the naira can be 400. We wish it can be 300, because we want a very strong economy. But looking at where we are coming from, we must face realities that it is not the same situation as it were when President Tinubu took over a few months after May 29, 2023.
Indeed. And a lot of investments have been made in agriculture, you know. When you hear the reports that are coming out of the presidency, but, you know, because of the insecurity situation.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say. We still have a whole lot to do in agriculture. The presidency still has a whole lot of work to do in agriculture. The headers farmers crisis has not helped matters. Benue, Plateau, which Benue our food basket, Plateau, we know how Plateau produces food in terms of the landmass that they have. So that has been a very big problem in terms of the agriculture output of this government. So there is no way you can say that they cannot do a lot more, because if you stem the headers farmers crisis, apart from the headers farmers crisis, I still keep saying that this government can still go to the open wallet system that was run by Adesina when he was Minister of Agriculture, because you see, fertilizers are not getting to the end users. And you see
what is happening? What is happening to it?
Because they abuse it. They abuse it. Even the fertilizers that the president will provide, you find people selling them. And so the open wallet system was such that it was getting directly from it was getting to the end users, who will use them, and at the end of the day we'll have more farm produce. You remember there was a time we were having tomato glut here, where they were producing excess, and people didn't know what to do with it. And so that is exactly the situation we can find ourselves if the security is stemmed, and they apply some of these principles, like what I just said, this open wallet system of fertilizers distribution. It can help a whole lot to let fertilizers go more. And the Fadama project, which I termed was not well run, because the CBN had no business going into the Fadama project. The 13 pilot scheme that was run, they saw a whole lot of leakages in it. They can rebrand it, and they can still use those states, Kebbi, Ebonyi, and others that were the pilot states that they used for that project.
Talking about rice
production. And so it will still go ahead to drive. Now, we eat the rice that we produce. Nobody talks about foreign rice like we used to talk about foreign rice now. Do you understand? So it's a whole lot of working in action for the agriculture, especially if we still want to make agriculture another means of stay, not our mono economy of dependence on only oil. So if we really want to use it, we need to reinvigorate the Ministry of Agriculture with so many of these actions. Not to say that the tractors that the president is bringing, by the time it comes around, it will not make its impact. But there's still a whole lot of work to be done in that aspect. I agree.
And that's principally, as you've just pointed out, because of the security situation in the country.
Oh yes, yet, that has also hindered.
It has, and
it has hindered.
In that regard, I don't know whether we are where we would like to be, really. It's one thing to say these things, but they seem to be, the bad guys seem to be able to just strike at will and hit and run, and that's always a challenge. That's always a problem.
It's been a challenge, and that's why people have called for state policing.
Yes, and
no matter the demerits you want to look at it.
But
by the time you bring the police,
now is the time.
Because if you bring the police nearer to the people, you know when a stranger is in town. You know when things are wrong. You know when you know your neighborhood. You know your terrain. It's easier for you to manage than strangers coming to help you manage your terrain. But the vigilante forces have also worked. If we're able to also empower the vigilantes and streamline and monitor their duties, I dare say that it will also have its effects, because the local vigilantes are the ones that really are the ones that are like local governments. They bring government, just like we bring government nearer to the people through the local governments. The vigilantes are the ones that live in the community. They bring local intelligence, and they help in terms. Look at how the civilian JTF, how it helped so much in the fight against Boko Haram. That should tell you how we can also, develop that aspect. If we can't get state policing, if we're not able to amend the constitution and we're able to get state policing, then let us empower local vigilante. Look at Amuteku. Look at the gains that were there, especially when the Ondo State Governor, the late Ondo State Governor, really drove it. I don't know how much they're driving it now, the governors now, like the way he drove it. But it made a clear distinction in the kidnapping that was going on in Ondo at Saddam material point in time, and we must also agree. So the success story of this Amuteku neighborhood, I don't know how much neighborhood watch is performing in Lagos. I must be realistic about that, but it is for the governors to be given that. If you remove security from the consolidated list to the concurrent list, then you give the governors enough power to be able to legislate, and therefore that in that case they can now empower those vigilantes. They can even give them arms. It might not necessarily be AK-47, it might be pump action shotguns, but at the end of the day we can tell that these people have been empowered to take care of their local security. That can also help to stem the farmer headers crisis.
That phone is a problem. Oh, okay. Can we just we just need to take care of something interrupting our programming, I'm thinking now. Hello. Yes, there's a caller on the line. Good morning. I hope we didn't lose that call. I think the caller is gone. So you're saying that you're optimistic, therefore.
Yes, that if we're able to
one
stem
can be
this.
cautiously optimistic.
No, because the truth about it is that with the way the economy is going, if we just have food production now, we're going to have a situation whereby we're going to drive prices more. A situation whereby we now have an improved situation in the security situation we have now in Benue and Plateau. Let me just use those two as a case study, because there's two states that produce so much of our food. That's why they call them the food basket of the nation. Now, by the time those products start coming, and with what we are gaining in terms of disinflation in this other area, it makes it almost impossible for you to now start looking for importing, because it's when you import, that's when you need, is that not when you need Forex? That's when you need Forex now. But for example, just like the way Dangote is selling fuel in Naira, and he's purchasing crude in Naira, by the time we localize our local currency, it becomes it becomes a huge advantage. And that's exactly where I'm looking at it. And that's why I say agriculture, they need a whole lot needs to be done in agriculture. Because I think for the lifetime of this administration, I don't see how much can be done in mining. I must be realistic. It's just 1.5 years left of this administration. So if I'm going to start telling you about gains that are going to come from mining, it might be a tall order. But in agriculture, there's still so much that has to come from it.
Okay. Sally in Jos. Good morning to you, sir. Can you hear us? Jos. Sally in Jos. Sally in Jos. I think that call, we lost that call. Well, mining, you were just, in fact, I was going to touch on that very briefly because we've almost run out of time. But here you were saying that, how fair would it be to comment on that, considering that we have
just about 1.5 years.
About 18 months.
I think what has happened is the mining, one of the things that also frustrated mining is also the issue of insecurity. Because if you look at Zamfara, for example, the gold deposits that we have there is such that it is so huge that it can become another baby crude. Not up to crude, of course, but for that area and for that zone. And you can see that the minister has had to revoke a lot of mining licenses because he has said that we've had a lot of illegal mining.
Sorry to interrupt you. Let me take this caller from Bauchi. Okay. Maybe we'll be lucky with that one. Yeah, good morning. Who's calling in from Bauchi? Good morning to our caller in Bauchi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Calling from Bauchi.
Who did you say is calling? Say it again, please.
Morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Who is this? We're happy to have you. Tell us your name, please.
Thank you very much. How are you? And my regard to the guest on the studio.
Okay. He's passing his regards to you. Please go ahead with your comment or question.
Okay. So I can see from the on the screen that the reforms are yielding. So actually, if I can chip in to the ordinary people, actually we are not seeing any results so far because the government and their supporters are singing that this reform are yielding.
Hello? Hello?
Well, I heard him say that he's not seen any results.
Yes.
So you see, that was what I was saying, Uncle. I said, for the ordinary man listening to me, he will say, oh, Ken is just banding figures. We can't feel it in our pockets. But he cannot just say that there are no results at all. He can't say it was the same price he was buying tomatoes, he was buying pepper, he was buying beans, he was buying rice, that he's buying it today. So what I am trying to say here is that there is a difference between what we had. That's why statistics do help us. When it was getting to galloping inflation, the statistics showed it to us.
Yes.
It didn't hide. It was 27%, 28%. People were very worried. When it got to 1,900, it was not hidden, especially because by the time this government came in, the Naira was about 450, 420 official rate. parallel rate was 750. But we all know that those were superficial because of the issue of fuel subsidy. So if subsidy had to go, that means we had to devalue. And so for someone like the caller from Bauchi, I can understand where he's coming from. But he should also understand that what we are saying in terms of when we say it is, the gains are there, is where we are coming from and where we are presently and where it portends. So if we have this steady disinflation, I dare say that by this time next year, it will be another positive story. You can imagine if we have the sharp gains we had from 2024 till now, continue till 2026 in terms of disinflation.
Indeed, indeed.
Yes.
So I suppose one sees why they're saying that these reforms are already yielding results.
Yes.
But, you know, in fact, I'm being told now to go on a commercial break. In fact, I don't know why we're going on a commercial break because we've run out of time for the program. You know, okay. We've actually run out of time for the program itself. But let's give them their commercial break.
All right, then.
We'll be right back with one question to wrap it up. Stay with us, please.
The Renewed Hope Initiative RHI presents the RHI Green Nigeria Challenge. Go green today for a greener tomorrow. This national competition is in 3 categories. The household category is a tree planting competition amongst 11 frontline states in northern Nigeria. Each participating household in Adamawa, Borno, Bauchi, Gombe, Jigawa, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Sokoto, Yobe, and Zamfara states will plant a minimum of 1 tree to qualify with a video evidence of before and after the tree planting exercise. 20 million naira will be awarded to the best household. Submission deadline is 20th December 2026. Community category will see local governments, local communities, schools, and NGOs reclaim and transform degraded or abandoned areas such as dump sites, landfills, parks, and their likes into green, vibrant gardens, parks, and eco-friendly spaces. 50 million naira would be awarded to the overall best community group. Deadline for submission is 15th July 2026. States category will have all states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, excluding Enugu State, have a chance to address the growing threats to environmental sustainability and cleanliness. States will be judged based on the number of trees planted on major roads and inner streets and how clean they are. 100 million naira will be awarded to the best performing state. Already, Enugu State has 100 million naira for being RHI's model green state due to its greenery and cleanliness. Video evidence must be submitted by participating states on or before 20th December 2026. All entries must be directed to RHI Office, State House, Abuja, or email rhi.greenchallenge@statehouse.gov.ng. RHI Green Nigeria Challenge. Go green today for a greener tomorrow.
Okay then, thank you very much for staying with us. But we're looking at the statement of, Mr. George Ikome, Secretary to the Government. Tinubu's bold reforms, are yielding results. And Ken has been taking a look at that and finding much that, he doesn't want to necessarily disagree with in that position. It might be, as a gentleman who called in from... where did he call him from?
Bauchi?
Bauchi, I think
That's
it was. He called him from Bauchi, but unfortunately, we lost him. And he was saying that, well done, I've not seen anything. I've not seen any improvement. And Ken was looking at that, saying, just before that call had come in, he had said that he wouldn't be surprised if there are people who thinks like that.
Of course.
You know,
of course.
because
times are really hard. We must be realistic.
It is.
But you see, it's just for us to be able to say, look at where we are coming from and where we are presently, and that tells a whole lot of work on the information arm of the government. I keep saying it, they have a whole lot in educating the people, but you don't educate people that are also hungry. They want to see the palliatives. Some of them, which this government is also doing, because they say a whole lot of people are getting the cash handouts. But people don't like cash handouts. They want to be able to work hard and be able to earn funds. Don't give me cash handouts. Teach me to fish. Let me be able to work hard for myself. But you see, the way it was, I know, last year, even the opposition, if you see when they try to hit the government of the day, they too are conscious of the fact that the economy of the economy that was inherited, the only thing they keep coming to say is, oh, it's the same APC government, which is the truth. You can't deny it. That if you say you inherited a very bad situation, if you say you inherited a very horrible situation, it is the same APC. That is exactly what they will say. But to say that Tinubu has not, you see, Tinubu, the kind of risk Tinubu has taken is the kind of risk you can liken to leaders like maybe the Lee Kuan Yew or some of those kind of leaders who did not really care about their second tenure. And they needed to just take these bold reforms and these bold decisions. And I think he's taking that risk.
Okay.
He rather put his second tenure at risk than leaving the nation to go on a drift. Because
he has done some real...
Because if he was to pander to thinking of his second tenure, some of the decisions he has taken, he wouldn't take them. And that's why they keep saying, oh, he's so unpopular up north. It's not about being unpopular up north. It's about the fact that he had seen that we're the doomsday. And you know, in terms of economy, I must say that for the first time, I cannot actually believe. If you had told me that the dollar will fall to below 1.5, I would never have thought it was possible and will keep going down. And, you know, it's been a steady decline. It shows you that there's a purposed approach. And if you look at the tax reforms, by the time the tax reform comes into play and people actually embrace it, this is going to be another source of IGR, a real source of IGR, because people all over the world, how do you build your train stations? How do you build your bus stations? How do you provide infrastructure? Yeah. How do you provide schools? Yeah. How do you provide light? It's the tax that you collect from the citizens.
And when you look at the tax reforms,
you understand. Basically, that's the truth.
When you look at the tax reforms, especially, experts have been explaining it that we simply just don't pay tax.
We don't have the habit of paying tax because we say we don't see what the government is using the tax to do.
Yeah.
But now the government is showing us that this is what we are doing.
And now
bring your tax.
They've also
made it possible that those who are going to pay tax are not those who are vulnerable. Like for those who are earning 70,000 and below, don't pay tax.
Don't worry about
Military, you are exempted. Company income tax has been reduced from 30% to 25%. So all these incentives now makes it possible for you to collect more taxes.
Yeah.
And increases the revenue of the government.
Let me try. Good morning, Dr. Durosimi in Lekki.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah. I just want to salute the analysts at the studio doing this one.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulate the President Tinubu's bold reform is yielding a result. To an ordinary Nigerian, it may not be so, but we can see the statistics.
Yes.
But the governors, again, I will say, the governors have to come. They have enough resources. They should embark on agriculture. President Tinubu does not have 1 acre of land to practice agriculture. All the acres of land, the entire Nigerian land belongs to the governors. They should embark on agriculture and bring in machinery that are easy and cheaper to get and easy for Nigerians to use. Not necessarily the big tractors. We need tiller machines, which I will call Tinubu machines. Tinubu machines will do this magic in our nooks and the crannies of Nigeria. In addition, our gold, the gold in Zamfara, the gold in Kebbi, the gold in Osun State, who are those people mining it? Gold can actually beef up our naira. If we make sure that we push the insurgents away, they cannot be occupying any part of Nigeria. We should use our police and military resources to push the so-called hoodlums away from the gold area. They are mining our gold. And that is a resource that belongs to every Nigerian. In addition to that, these herders farmers clashes can be stopped if we bring in hybrid cows that will actually be kept in a ranch, and within 100 or 120 days, they are ready for the table. We should bring in the cows. Don't carry cow from Sokoto to Lagos. We should bring the cows that can be good in every political location, like what we have in Kwara. The Zimbabwe farmers in Kwara are using hybrid cows, and they are making it. So at the same time, the government should ensure that the solid minerals area is properly looked into. That will be another source of revenue for Nigeria. We cannot depend on crude oil alone. And at the same time, we should encourage people to bring in refineries. You can see that Dangote refinery is producing for Nigeria and exporting petroleum products. Unlike what was happening the last 28 years, where we have been importing, using our scarce resources to import petroleum products. Dangote refinery is producing for Nigeria and it's even exporting to U.S. Can you just imagine that? So if you have more refineries producing and exporting, our Naira will not be at what it is. My thinking of the Naira, it should not be more than $1,000 to $100. If all of us engage in farming, especially the governors and the local government channel, our Naira will become more valuable and food will be available to Nigerians. Good morning, Mr. Yori.
Thank you very much, Dr. Odrosmi. Did he just say 1,000?
He unpacked almost everything at the same time. I like his passion. Oh yeah, that's all he said, 1,000. And I mean, I would even then say that it should go below 1,000.
Yeah, I was
you
going
understand
to say
what I'm trying to say?
know.
But you see, the truth
maybe
is,
he was trying to be
the
pragmatic.
Naira has found its real value. President Tinubu said we were eating into the future of our children's children. Do you understand? And that's exactly what the situation was. And that's where we are coming back from a very, a very, you just got a very far place. There's been moral decadence, there's been decaying infrastructure, there's been so much no will for people to be able to take those very bold decisions. It's like what they'll say today in the fight against corruption. I keep saying it, we have never had an EFCC that has been so focused like under President Tinubu. And President Tinubu was supposed to be the one that was allegedly corrupt. Yeah, you understand what I'm coming to say before now, when he was governor and all the allegations that they had before he became president. I'm not trying to denigrate President Buhari, but under him, who was supposed to be the anti-corruption czar, do you understand what I'm trying to say? We didn't fight corruption the way corruption is being fought now. And so by the time the opposition comes to tell you that corruption is still so massive, I beg to disagree that they're playing politics. We see where 753 houses were recovered in one fell swoop. We see a situation whereby the EFCC is able to provide IGR for things like the students' loan funds, things like the cashback scheme. It's not been done before. We see a situation whereby we're having people being deported for cybercrime. Foreigners are actually being deported for cybercrime, sending a strong signal that this place is not a place for you to come and a breeding ground for corruption. We see a place where they are able to track funds which are being released to ministries, departments, and agencies. Because one other thing that is killing the economy is the leakages that we have had in terms of corruption. So budgetary performance cannot be realized because you see people padding the budget, you see people filtering away funds which are meant for development. And so if there is no bold steps to actually say, look, we're taking a bold initiative to say we're actually going to stem it, we will not also have the economy grow. So in these two areas, which is corruption and the economy, I think Tinubu has performed quite well with what he did see. If you ask me my own analysis, I don't know where you want to look at it from, because people look at it from different perspectives, but I'm looking at the facts that we have on ground and the indices that we have now, which is producing the kind of results that we are seeing today, where we can boldly say that rice that we're buying that we're purchasing for 100,000 naira, we can purchase for 40,000 naira now, we can purchase for 45,000 naira now, depending on which quality you want to buy. Now you have a choice. Now you can go to NNPC and fill your tank for maybe 800 naira. You can decide to go, maybe you don't want, no, I'm just maybe 820 or 825.
Fill your tank?
Sorry, a liter, sorry, that's what I'm trying to say. Thank you for correcting me. But you can choose to go and, if you don't want to, you can choose to go to where you can buy 865 naira and just buy and go. So right. there's a choice. Do you understand? Yeah, so there's a bit of competition now. And that's why you see Pengassin are a bit endangered now, because Dangote has provided source of distribution of fuel now, which would make it impossible for them to hold us to ransom.
Which
like
some
they
people
used to
don't
hold us
like.
to ransom. I'm not saying I'm against pengasing,
no,
but they used to hold us to ransom. And so you find out at the end of the day, when you have all these products, what makes things cheaper? The only forces of supply is more than demand. Everything comes down in terms of goods and services. So those are the things I actually want us to look analytically and not look at it from just the jaundiced point of view and just wanting to say, oh no, times are difficult. 8,500 naira can still buy you a plate of food.
Okay,
that is just $1.
Well, let's leave it there.
Are you understanding?
I hear you.
$1.
And I think we should just leave it there because I hear what you're saying loud and clear. But I want to thank you, as always, Ken.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Sir Ken Okolubo.
It's always my pleasure.
Political affairs analyst.
Thank you.
But there's more to come. As you know, there's this whole wahala. I don't think there's any other words to use for it. Pengasing Dangote refinery. That's up next.